Because Windows Live Movie Maker suddenly decided to add to my abandonment issues, I've temporarily had to forego animating, which, despite being an enormous amount of fun, certainly have caused videos to be uploaded belatedly due to the sheer amount of images drawn that then have to be synchronized with audio. So theoretically, this means that the frequency of release should increase. Fuck, some of them may be sliding into your notifications when the movies themselves are still relevant in some way. Not this time though. You get your Halloween Kills review in November because I like to spend this particular celebration balls deep in all of my vices. The film picks up exactly where the previous one left off, like to the second. News of Michael's killing spree reaches the ears belonging to some of the people who survived their encounters with Myers back in 1978. So they rally a mob with the objective to hunt down and kill the Shape whilst Laurie is en route to hospital because her last confrontation with the boogeyman left her requiring almost the same amount of medical attention as my real doll after I watched that Madeleine McCann documentary. For those of you with hematolognia, your needs are very well met. There's so much fucking blood. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if I found out that the bulk of the movie's $20 million budget was spent on Kensington gore. Pretty standard for this genre, however I feel that the hilarious amount of blood and relatively modest violence is meant to deviate your attention from the fact that the kills are incredibly bland. Plentiful and efficiently distributed, yes, but there was practically fuck all murdering going on outside of stabby stabby, followed by placing the corpse in ominous positions, the latter of which certainly provided entertainment, but the journey lacked creativity, and trying to cover it up with an outrageous amount of blood isn't going to cut it for me, bro. I'm too battle hardened for that shit. I fucked a squirter when she was on her period. I know, right? Not all heroes wear capes. The acting is adequate. Everyone is trying their hardest, and I have hope that came across as condescending as intended. With that said, I don't like how the writers treated Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode. She was, at best, tangentially involved in the narrative to the point where her and Michael never share a vicinity. In fact, I don't recall her straying too far away from her hospital bed for the entire 105-minute duration, and her only contribution worthy of mention was a monologue near the end credits, which felt like more of a trailer for the next one because of course there's a next one. Nick Castle is reliably himself when it comes to playing the antagonist. I have no problem at all regarding how Michael was portrayed, but whatever writer decided to have Myers maskless for a portion of the feature should be cattle prodded every time they consider putting pen to paper. This isn't a whodunit affair, it's Michael fucking Myers. There is no need to dilute his presence at all, especially in this manner. To be fair, it didn't completely humanize him as you don't actually get to see his face in its entirety, but such teasing is made objectively pointless by being able to look up the actor's face on the internet. So huge swing and a miss when it comes to this aspect of the movie, unless the intention was for Michael to briefly make you feel nostalgic for that random guy who turns up to your Halloween party at butthurt o'clock in the morning. He's rightfully drunk as fuck and spends his whole time there alone in the corner, quietly nursing a bottle of Russian Standard in between chain snorting coke off of his Nokia 3310 before vanishing into myth. You naturally assume he is a friend of a friend, but after some investigation the following day you realise that no one else knew who the fuck he was either. Of course, it would be remiss of me if I didn't mention John and son Cody Carpenter's score. Simply put, it's fantastic. I loved how the soundtrack kept to the franchise's roots whilst adding a dash of contemporary which reflects the composers perfectly. Sadly though, the music as a whole wasn't utilised to its optimum. More often than not, movies of this nature use the OST to complement the visual or even act as a red herring. Regarding the former, Halloween Kills delivers for the most part. However, the herrings are several spectrums away from red. Every attempt at deliberate misleading fell flat. It was so effortless to construe when legitimate danger was about to go down just as easily as when there was fuckery afoot. The reason for this are firstly, the on-screen activity is embarrassingly predictable, and secondly, every shot at deception glazes the same type of tone from the orchestration on top of it, making the situation easier to decipher than an X-ray of Rush Limbaugh's chest. Halloween Kills is nothing more than a stepping stone between the previous installment and the third one planned for release in 2022. I don't see it serving a purpose beyond that, because when I look at them as a trilogy, I can't help but view them as three separate acts as opposed to an ongoing series. Setup, confrontation, and resolution is the traditional way a story is divided. Halloween 2018 very much provided the setup. Halloween Kills is riddled with confrontation, and if the title of the upcoming one is anything something to go by, then plenty of resolution should be supplied. Oh yeah, no visual aids, sorry, it's called Halloween Ends, which to me implies conclusion. Although not guaranteed, because milking franchises and financial gluttony agrees with Blumhouse on a level equaled only by the synergy between overwhelming glee, along with the idea of me and Keanu Reeves going halves on a rape charge because Hikaru Shida.